If you're like me, then you've probably watched 1,000 DIY TikTok reels, but you haven't been able to start on your own project. But today, all of that's going to change because I'm going to show you how I turned this pile of wood into this bed that is the bed of my dreams for my daughter. I can't emphasize enough that I have zero skills doing anything handy or crafty really before ever in my life. And today I'm showing you the full process from selecting the wood that we used all the way through upholstering the bed and putting it all together. So stick around for the final reveal at the end.
We're going to the Home Depot of France. We're going to get some hot dogs.
Oh my God. We're going on a wood tour of France right now. Just going to all the
sushi
wood places. Look at these cows, just chilling. Tablette rustique.
Rustique.
Is this it's a...
I don't know. YouTube. What did you determine?
Okay, so we determined that, so this type of wood is an edge-glued wood.
Yes. Edge-glued pine.
Edge-glued pine. I really like the look of this. All these little panels are glued together. If this was gonna be a problem when you're building, but our advisor, ChatGPT, our wood advisor, ChatGPT, told us that there's no problems. What is the order of operation?
Let me ask ChatGPT.
Okay, I think we need to, but we need to start loading. How are we gonna take this in the car?
Well, it's either going on the roof. That's why I bought the thin rope.
No, it can't go on the roof. We're buying a wood baby. Are we ready? Okay, but
you want to get a nice flat
no,
piece
I understand. I understand. But don't you think we don't need to be so precious about it?
No, I don't think that.
Oh my gosh.
I think we have to be very precious. This is the thing when you buy wood from Home Depot. You got to make sure it's straight and flat.
Okay, well, we got to pick out 10 of these, so let's.
Full commitment.
Voila!
Whew.
I wish I could say that we took this wood home and started on our project right away, but that's not always how life happens. So this pile of wood sat in our house for 4 months. It's started to become a holder for my weights and a tablet for my kids to put stickers on. Until one day, I could not look at it anymore, and I took myself to the fabric store so that we could finally get started on this project. The selection here was really comprehensive, and luckily I was able to get everything I needed in one trip.
Je voulais couper 6 mètres. 6 mètres? Oui, je cherchais une règle, j'arrive. Ok, merci.
What's going on here?
Don't film it. This is
What is this?
pretty rigged up. We need a table. I have a table. This is my Alpine table and my Inpeak table.
Oh my God.
And now I don't know which side I cut.
Okay, so Kyle has finally moved the boards out of the corner. Very exciting. He has cut them so that we have all the pieces cut for the sides. These are the ones for this. This is the side rail. And now, then this is like the footboard and headboard, that piece there. And now what I'm attempting to do is to draw the shape. This is gonna be, basically these are 2 pieces of wood that he has to like fit together. And now we're gonna try to draw the shape of the sideboard. It's a headboard, but it's on the side. And so that he can cut this. Okay, let's give it a go. Because basically I just want a nice curve that comes down. The center of the dip should be the exact center, and then it should come up and then curve over.
There's like a way to geometrically do this. Like there's a way to do it geometrically where you draw like a half circle. So I think it needs to, so this is 100 here. All right. Now we have like 15 lines on here. I don't know how easy it is for you to cut. Just follow the outer line. Oh my gosh, is this a bad idea? Okay, look at it. Does it look symmetrical? It looks pretty symmetrical, right? How do you know if it's straight?
No. Step. Just measure from here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, can you follow here? Follow, see, because this is the same, see?
Okay.
Okay, wait, should I redraw it so that it's more like similar to this one with this as a guard?
Yes.
It's not looking so bad. We made a little incorrection here. A little boo-boo there, but it's okay. It's gonna be, I mean, this is gonna be upholstered. So I think this is pretty good. We just have to measure these sides and then measure the tops to make sure that like they're symmetrical. What's the technique here?
Well, you see, you just kind of want to go with the shape. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you want to get all the splinters. You want to make it smooth.
Yeah.
So you can feel that there's rough parts.
Right.
So you just smooth it out. And then this is a rough sand, and then we'll do a fine sand at the end.
After all of the wood pieces were cut, it was my job to start the upholstering process. I bought this tacky spray and sprayed it all over the wood and then attached this foam onto it. Then I used this turkey cutter and I cut the foam to shape. Afterwards, I spread this batting over the top and I smoothed it all out, made sure to get out all of the wrinkles, smoothed it and smoothed it again, and then cut it to the right shape and size. And then I use the staple gun to staple it into shape. At this point, you could really see the shape of the sideboard. Then I got the top fabric, and I basically followed the same process as for the batting. I measured it like 10 different times to make sure that I had the right size to cover the top. And then I smoothed it out again. I got out all the wrinkles and tried to pull it tightly across. And then I stapled it into place with a staple gun. In retrospect, upholstering something that had two curves was harder than I anticipated, but in the end, I think we got there. So I was up all night trying to even out these humps, these waves. And I think the finished product is pretty good, but definitely looks better in the day, I think. I tried as best I could to get this tight without any lumps. But no, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. So this is going to be the side of the bed. And now I am working on the side rail and the front rails. These side pieces and front and back pieces were so much easier to do. I should have actually started with these as a first-time upholsterer. The only thing that was tricky was figuring out how to get a clean corner. But after watching a few videos, I think I figured it out. But basically I followed the same process as before and just relied on my staple gun to make sure that this was all upholstered on nice and tight.
Okay, so it's been like 3 days, and I'm going to show you the current state of the bed. We basically have 2 pieces done. So I upholstered this side rail, and then of course the headboard has been done. And we didn't do any more because we needed to make sure that the frame that we're using fits into the bed. So we started putting together this IKEA, like the slats. Now today I'm gonna put all of these on and I'm gonna upholster the ends. And I am very hopeful that we will have a reveal by the end of today.
Okay, this is how I tackled the corners after I watched like 100 TikTok videos on how to do this, and then also just like experimented myself. So basically I pulled like the fabric across, I cut a piece of it off, and then I tucked that like loose end into the hole and stapled the front piece on top. Once the shape of the corner was done, I had to flip it over and just tighten the loose bit. I don't know why we're always trying to do the hardest part at night, but that's what always ended up happening with this project. So here we are, all the pieces are upholstered, and now we're trying to use these brackets to put the bed into place. It took us a while to figure out how to secure these brackets in the right spot. We basically like held it up against the 2 pieces and marked it with a marker, and then Kyle drilled a hole into the places that we needed to put screws in. And we had to do this process twice, one on one end and then again on the other. And then these brackets, they have little screws that then you tighten so that it's easy for us to take this bed apart. You just have to unscrew the screws and hook the pieces into place.
Like a glove. Oh boy. It's a little tight.
Gosh, look at this. Wow.
Ça va?
Wow.
We designed the beds because I always wanted to have a bed that I could like read with the girls in, where we're all sitting in the bed and everyone has a nice comfy place for their head. So even though these arches are a little bit like higher than I had envisioned, I think that practicality wise, it ended up being the right move. All in all, I think I would probably rate this project ease wise. If 10 is really hard and 1 is very easy, maybe like a 6, because actually the upholstering, that part was not very hard at all. The thing that was the hardest was actually getting this put together. Getting the measurements for the brackets on was a bit challenging. And other than that, I think the project was pretty easy for a beginner. And I think the result is really nice. And we ended up spending around 700 francs, but we have enough materials for 2 beds because we made this one, and then I have everything ready to go for the second bed, which will go on the other side of the room. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that you found a little inspiration from watching us put this bed together. Oh, and next up is this. PAX hack.